And a couple of years ago, I noticed an interesting thing in AAAS, which is the American Association for Advancement of Science. And then this same news item appeared in October of last year. And I thought, wow, what an amazing, amazing resource we have. And I've been following it since October because I was expecting it to sort of burst onto the headlines because it was such a great piece of news for West Virginia. It was so closely fitting with our agenda of searching for clean, sustainable, renewable, non-polluting energy. It has never appeared. If you do a Google search on this particular topic, you're going to find the 2 articles that I originally ran into and almost nothing else. What are the most commonly known sustainable energy sources? There's solar, wind, in some places tidal power, geothermal. How many of you have ever heard of geothermal power? Okay, you've probably heard of the small form, which you can hook onto a building or a house. That's actually a heat pump exchange system. How about enough geothermal power to light up the mid-Atlantic? Do you realize that we have that resource to the immediate west of us? We are sitting on the largest hotspot on the North American plate.
In West Virginia.
West Virginia. There's another big one farther south in the Appalachian Mountain Ranges because this is a particularly old formation of rocks. The geology is perfect. There is a smaller spot that's a little closer to the surface in Nevada, and they are already exploiting it. The wonderful thing about this is that we have the drilling technologies to do it very safely. You set up the system, it's a closed loop. There's no effluvia, there's no coal ash, there's no nuclear waste product. You don't have to worry about the bats and the birds dying in the turbine. You don't have to look at the thing on the skyline. And electricity is very inexpensive to move around, and we already have the infrastructure. Interestingly enough, the articles that started to explore this possibility as a West Virginia resource just assumed we wouldn't want to buy it because, after all, we have such cheap electricity from coal. But we could be selling it to Maryland, Virginia, and Pennsylvania. To give you an idea of how much energy is contained in this particular geological formation, they think they can produce 18,800 megawatts. Coal in West Virginia currently produces slightly more than 16,000. It makes the Marcellus Shale look silly. And we all know that hydrofracking is an incredibly dangerous process. Even in these early days, we are seeing seismic changes, we're seeing groundwater pollution, we're seeing radioactive wastewater. Why are they even going there? But here's the thing, nobody knows that this resource is out there. I haven't seen it in any major popular periodical anywhere. And as far as I know, everybody I ask in West Virginia says, what? Really? So here's the thing, you gotta pay attention. This is something that West Virginia in particular has an extraordinary political infrastructure owned by Big Coal. They don't really want you to know this is there because this is not something that can be discussed in terms of mineral rights. This is something that is entirely new as a resource. And as a result, ownership of it will be, pardon the pun, hotly contested. However, the promise of this form of energy and the simplicity with which it could be immediately brought to the fore is not out there. It's in the scientific literature, it is not in the popular press. And I would just bet you not a single candidate for governor, and there is a whole stable of them, has any idea, because we know what they're reading, and it ain't the scientific periodicals. So the only thing I can say is that it's very important that people start making noise as individuals and groups and asking flat out, oh, by the way, how do you intend to further research and support the development of the wonderful geothermal resource in northeastern West Virginia? So, that's my point.
Yeah. Thank you. That was,